DIRT TRAX TV is sponsored by Polaris, think outside. Can-Am, follow your path. Yamaha, revs your heart. And by Honda Power Sports, power your dreams, whatever the terrain.
I've been asking myself this one question ever since I got invited to Polaris's 2025 Ranger new model intro. What could Polaris possibly do to the Ranger to make it better? Seriously though, it's already got everything you could want, including impressive capability and robust durability. But in typical Polaris fashion, they identified a few things that could be done better and then did them. Luckily, the 2025 models maintain all the things about the Ranger we love, with a few nice tweaks that make it even better. Today I'm going to fill you in on all of those details, but because we hear so much grumbling about price, I'm going to start by telling you that for 2025, the Polaris Ranger 1000, the base model, is getting a price decrease. Yes, you heard that right. So you can't complain about prices constantly rising. Is it still expensive? Yes, everything is. It's just a little less expensive now. Also of note, Polaris is now offering a standard 2-year warranty on all Ranger models. For 2025, you're also going to see the return of a few customer favorite special edition models, including the Waterfowl Edition and the Texas Edition that's now available in North Star trim. Now onto the big question. What is actually different about a Ranger in 2025? For starters, and most obviously, the Ranger got a facelift. Now to be perfectly honest, this is just cosmetic, but it does look fantastic and makes the entire lineup of Rangers much more similar. The rest of the visual changes are really focused more on value. For instance, the bumper that you see was available and still is available in the parts catalog as an accessory, but it now comes standard on all 2025 Ranger XP models. The class-leading Polaris 4,500-pound winch with synthetic cable, magnetic auto-stop fairlead, and both wired and wireless remotes is also standard on all XP models, as is the newly redesigned roof and the 29-inch tires. Polaris identified these things as accessories most customers were adding anyway. To increase the value to their customers, they're simply including them from the factory for nearly the same price as last year's Ranger. This is a perfect example of how Polaris listens to their customers and works to give them exactly what they want. In this case, basically for free. The North Star Edition I tested still includes all the great features it always has, like the fully sealed cab with full doors, glass windows, power windows, heat and AC, ride command with backup camera, full sound system, and multiple drive modes. It's definitely the model I'd want if I was going to buy a Ranger. I mean, once you've had the fully sealed cab with heat and AC, you really don't ever want to go back. Essentially what I'm saying is, I'm spoiled. The Ranger's cargo box remains unchanged, as do the hauling and towing numbers of 1,000 pounds and 2,500 pounds respectively. Inside the cab of the North Star, you'll find a JBL sound system specifically tuned for the Ranger. It sounds excellent, and you can add up to 5 more speakers, including a sub, if you really want to make your ears bleed. The biggest mechanical change to the Ranger in 2025, really the only mechanical change, is the transmission. It's been internally redesigned completely to shift more smoothly in all conditions, and I can say with all confidence that it does. And it's something you'll immediately notice and appreciate. This is especially true for anyone who might plow with the Ranger. Constantly shifting from reverse to low is now so much smoother. Though I will say, I wish Polaris would bring back the reverse to low side gate in the shifter, at least for North Star models that are more likely to be used for plowing. The interior of the 2025 Ranger is very similar to the 2024 model with some subtle changes. One cool new feature is the water bottle holder that's located directly under the steering column. It's super clever how it's designed and it works great. So I guess the big question, as it always seems to be, is the 2025 Ranger worth upgrading to? And in my opinion, the answer goes like this. If you have a late model Ranger or one you just haven't put a lot of miles on yet, it's probably worth holding on to. But if you're shopping for a new utility side-by-side or looking to replace an older Ranger, the new 2025 models offer significant value over the previous seasons and really over their competition, which in my mind should put it at the very top of your list.
The YXZ1000R has been Yamaha's racehorse in the sports side-by-side category since 2016. And while the YXZ has seen numerous updates over the years, the appeal to die-hard YXZ owners has always been the manual gear transmission and the direct connection feeling you get from the gearbox and its nimble handling chassis. For model year 2024, Yamaha officials took aim at broadening the appeal of the YXZ to a larger user group with the introduction of a new 6-speed transmission with selectable auto shift technology that is activated through a 3-position dash mounted dial. Last fall, Luke attended the YXZ1000R SS introduction in Sand Hollow, Utah, and got a really good appreciation of its improved versatility in the wide open sand dunes and technical rock crawling sections. To further showcase its appeal, Yamaha extended an invitation to us this spring to an off-road event they were hosting at the world-famous Crandon International Raceway.
So coming out here with the 2024 YXZ1000R Sport Shifts, we really just want to show off the versatility of the new auto shift technology and just what all the YXZ is capable of handling. Out here at Crandon International Raceway, for one, they're celebrating their 5th anniversary, so it's cool just to be here and be a part of that, but also there's such a diverse amount of trails, little known, that are out here to be able to experience in the YXZ. We went through some tighter wood stuff, even through some mud, and the cool thing is, just here recently, they added an Ultra 4 section, so the media got to experience this whole big boulder rock crawling that not a lot of people really think of a YXZ with, but with our new gear ratio setup, they got to just feel how seamless it kind of is going up and through those rocks. Another cool thing we did, we brought out the Van Epperens, who are our champions that have multiple race championship wins on the YXZ1000R, and they built a couple of custom-made short course specific YXZs out here that we're able to experience. Again, just to show the versatility you have of not only being out there in the trails, but also what you can do with the YXZ out on the track.
While the group of us attending were all itching to get on the race course with the YXZ, we had to wait for the track to dry up from the previous night's thunderstorm. We took advantage of the premium equipped XTR models and spun some laps on the trail and then tested the lower first gear ratio on the Ultra 4 course. The benefits of the new automatic transmission were immediately appreciated while blasting through the forest trails. Not having to worry about manually shifting the gears while navigating the tight and twisties allowed you to keep better focused on the trail while hitting your marks. Sport Auto perfectly exemplifies what the YXZ is all about as it comes alive and does all the work for you. More aggressive mapping inspires you to mash the throttle and stretch out the gears as the system does all the work for you, selecting shift points ranging from 7,500 RPM all the way up to the 10,500 rev limit. Regular Auto provides a more mellow shift point and a more casual mindset while cruising the trails. It short shifts and keeps the taller gear at a much lower RPM for a quieter in-cab experience, allowing you to relax and chat with your passenger without worrying about shifting any gears. Now, if you ever get in a situation where you feel the gear selected by either auto mode isn't optimal, simply pull back either paddle shifter to override the system and select the gear you desire. The auto shift system will then keep the gear selection you made constant until the clutch senses a noticeable change in energy, and then the automatic mode will re-engage. Now, another element worth pointing out is that if you actuate the paddles and nothing happens, that means that the system has detected a situation where either the engine RPM is below idle or above redline. Otherwise, it's going to do what you tell it to do. The heart of the YXZ is the updated Yamaha chip control shifter, more commonly referred to as YCCS. Pat Biolzi, Yamaha's ATV and side-by-side testing manager, explains the importance of this system.
The YCCS system, what makes it so good and so essential to the core of the YXZ is because it gives you that direct connection feeling. We really focus on actually not eliminating shift shock and shift noise. We want the driver to be able to hear and feel when the vehicle shifts without looking at the meter. We feel like we have one of the best digital meters in the market. It's right behind the steering wheel and you really have a very direct view of it. But we want you to be able to, especially when you're driving in a sporty, more aggressive way, you want to be able to hear and feel when the vehicle shifts. And it does change how it shifts. The clutch engagement is different depending on what you're doing with the throttle pedal and how much energy is going in and out of the clutch. So it changes how it shifts every time you actuate the paddle depending on the situation. But we want the driver to be able to be connected to that and hear and feel it. So the 2024 YXZ, the Sport Shift model, actually has rubber engine mounts, which soften that just a little bit because the vehicle might shift when you're not expecting it to because you're not controlling it anymore in those auto modes. So it might be a little bit surprising. We wanted to soften that shift shock and shift noise just a little bit, but especially we wanted to make sure you knew that it shifted. So we don't want to eliminate that. We feel like the YCCS system does the best job of that.
Dirt Tracks is sponsored by Princess Auto. Make it work.
The addition of a 6th gear really broadens the usable range of the gearbox, with the most noticeable improvement to first. A 40% lower first gear ratio significantly improves low-speed navigation, especially when rock crawling and wanting to slowly pick a path through the gnarliest and steepest terrain. When it comes to comparing the new gearbox with the previous YXZ, the rest of the gears are evenly spaced out, with 6th gear being the same as the old 5th and 2nd gear being the same as the old 1st gear. Top speed remains the same, but Yamaha did increase the durability of the clutch with an all-new hub with radiating fins, along with increasing oil volume and adding oil lubrication ports for maximum heat dissipation. The YXZ's raw performance DNA really comes to life when in sport shift mode, and this was especially exciting when we got to drive the YXZs prepared by Rodney Van Efferen and his son Owen on the short course. Compared to a CVT transmission, having full control of the gear selection made a massive difference at maintaining peak horsepower as you pulled back and forth on the paddle shifters, charging from corner to corner and through the ever-changing track conditions. Further enhancing the performance is a well-placed shift light located on the dashboard. The YCCS system continues to monitor ideal energy levels, transfer through the clutch, and illuminates a light on the dashboard, signaling optimal shift points for the high-revving 3-cylinder engine. There's a reason why the YXZ has been and continues to be the most popular side-by-side on the short course racing circuit. Its dominance is largely attributed to its bulletproof transmission and the direct connection it provides drivers on the racecourse. In addition to this is the versatility it provides everyday users, whether on the trail or in the dunes.
Direct connection is so important to people like Rodney and Owen and the short course type of guys out there, or anybody driving the YXZ in a racing format. We knew that was a key part of their fun, why they want to drive it that way, because they get to build their skill with the vehicle, and it's just a lot more fun than a CVT vehicle in that way. So we did want to make sure, they run a 26-inch Maxxis Saros, for these conditions on this short course today, and we wanted to make sure this new transmission was very flexible. So if somebody's going to run a 30 or a 32-inch tire in certain, Western conditions, for example, in the Western desert, all the way down to a 26, wanted to make sure this transmission was as flexible as possible to really give them the choice of whatever they want to do and how they want to do it within that range. And we found that our system really can accommodate that wide range, and they didn't have to modify the system at all to run that different range of tires.
The expanded versatility of the YXZ1000R SS and its new auto shift technology has definitely lived up to all the hype. And to cap it off, launch mode adds serious sizzle to the steak. Activation is similar to other side-by-sides with this feature. Press down on the brake pedal, pull back on both paddles, and wait for the launch mode light to go solid green. Then mash the accelerator pedal down to the floor. Once you see the shift light illuminated, you know you've reached the perfect RPM for maximum exhilaration. Release the paddles and go.
Dirt Tracks has been sponsored by Kawasaki. Let the good times roll. And BRP Performance Exhaust, built for the victory lap. And by Hercules Tire, ride in our strength.
For 2024, there are 20 Maverick X3 models for you to choose from. That is a fact. It doesn't include the Maverick R, doesn't include the Maverick Trail, doesn't include the Maverick Sport. And when it comes down to it, there's between 14,000 American dollars and 17,000 Canadian dollars between the base model and the most premium. So I made it really easy for today's test ride. You know we always test the biggest, the baddest, and typically the most expensive models with the most options. But today I'm flipping the script completely. So sit down, buckle up, and get ready for something that's just a little bit different. This right here is the 2024 Maverick X3 DS Turbo, period. There's no Max on it, there's no Turbo RR, there's no Smart Shocks. This is the most cost-effective Maverick X3 that you can buy. But does short money mean short fun? I kind of thought so. I mean, I was the guy preaching that 240 horse out of the Maverick R is needed, and if you're buying a Maverick X3, you better go with the Turbo RR for those 200 horses under the rear rack. And while there are areas like the dunes that those 200 and 240 horses can be put to use, out on the trails of 95% of North America, heck, 95% of the world, the 135 horse Maverick Turbo is more than enough to get you in the fun zone and turn up the smiles per miles way past where I previously thought possible. So it's a base model, but let's wipe that image and that name right out of our minds, because while it is at the lower end of cost, this thing comes extremely well equipped. In fact, it's so well equipped that I think this is the best dollar for your buck in the pure sport market when it comes to cost, performance, and included features. At 64 inches wide, it's in that pure sport width, but way less than the bigger 70+ inch models. Let's keep in mind that you do still get the same base dual phase 980 steel chassis, roll bar, plastics, and sporty race inspired interior as the other models. So where's the cost savings? Honestly, I'm still scratching my head to find it all. Sure, we have the 135 horse Ace Turbo as opposed to the 200 horse, but let me tell you, the 135 is still enough to twist the chassis when you slide through a corner in four-wheel drive and are hooking up with all tires. The power put to the ground is impressive, and don't for a second think that 135 horse isn't fun. It's a flippin' blast. I'm 225 pounds, and when riding with another passenger at a total rider combined weight of over 400 pounds, this buggy is quick, like real quick. Corner to corner blips of the throttle break the rear end without hesitation, and it actually leaves me feeling like 200 horse is just gonna be a whole lot more wheel spin when 135 horse is struggling to not break all four tires loose in almost every situation. So what about suspension? Well, must be cheap, right? No, not at all. For 2024, Can-Am decided to take us in a completely new direction with a company that we're used to seeing on two wheels, Showa. A name you're used to seeing in the supercross and street motorcycle world, Showa is now making 2.5-inch body dampers for certain Maverick models. For our DS Turbo, they feature high and low speed compression, both front and rear, as well as dual rate springs. Travel on all four corners is 20 inches on this X3, and after a good beating on this chassis and suspension setup, I can confidently say that there are very few areas that I would be looking for more travel or better damping. These Showa shocks are high quality and deliver an excellent ride from tame trail family rides to wide open mayhem sessions. So then does the base DS lack an interior and amenities? Well, I mean, you can get fancier stitching on your seats and different coloration as well as a roof, but I keep coming back to the same thing. This DS Turbo is an incredible value. The race-inspired seating, the tight diameter steering wheel, the tri-mode power steering, it's all similar to the top-tier models. Smart lock? Yep, got it. ITC intelligent throttle control? Yep, still here. Cool-looking half doors? Got them standard. Even the color and graphics, I feel, are very premium and high quality. Heck, there's even the high molecular weight polyethylene skid plate, LED headlights and taillights, as well as push-button start and the DESS security tether. What is not to like here? Well, there are some things that I would make changes to, but here's the funny thing. It's not just on the DS base model, it's on all Maverick X3s. So again, not an entry-level issue. And really my only gripe, but a real one, is the angular plastics that seem to be placed directly where my knees rest on the dash. I like to have my seat in tighter to the steering wheel when riding fast, and when I do this, my knees are bent to the perfect angle that the two hard and unfortunately sharp edges of the dash dig directly into my knees. Is it a deal breaker? Not at all, but it is something that could be easily remedied to make the interior even more user-friendly. When you shake down the 2024 Can-Am Maverick X3 DS Turbo, you realize very quickly that it's delivering more performance at a better cost than any of its competition. But at the same time, you also realize that it's probably the best value in all of the 20 Maverick X3s available for 2024.